Hello everyone, this is ICBs here and today we are yet again talking about Snow White. And I already made a video about it a couple of days ago saying that Disney was scaling back its operations in UK when the movie was going to be released, but now it's also scaling back its theatrical release in the US as well. Now this movie I can only describe is a very big dookie for Disney to poop out, and it feels like Disney is very constipated with this film. Like, this movie needs to go out, and I think even Disney knows that they can't make any money from this movie, so it just needs to go out and shoot out into the world. But even doing that is a really difficult task for Disney right now, and because Disney is really scaling back on the theatrical releases across the countries, I do think that Disney can later on use that as an excuse for the poor box office returns that I am sure this movie will have. Now some people are saying that this movie cost about from $230 million to $270 million, which means to break even Disney needs to make about $630 million, which is a lot of money. And you know what, speaking of box office, it kind of reminds me of something else. It reminds me of this movie, and if you go over here you can see that this movie cost about $240 million to make and it made about $569 something million. And you might think that Disney actually made some quite a bit of a profit from this, but that's not really the case because there's also marketing costs that go into this movie. So usually the marketing cost is double that of a budget, so if you double this thing you get something about $500 million. So Disney probably made about like a few million on top of this movie. So either Disney broke even with this movie or they made a little bit of a profit from this movie, which I do find that the casting choice in this movie was very questionable. I already talked about it in length when this movie was coming out. So, and then we come back over here and obviously this movie is also not doing so well. Obviously this movie is doing far worse than The Little Mermaid, but I do think that maybe Rachel Zegler is not the primary cause of this. I do think that she is the catalyst of the backlash, but I do think that the negative reputation that Disney was getting for so many years up until this point just kind of amalgamated into a big giant hatred for Disney, and obviously Rachel Zegler was the catalyst of all of that backlash. And obviously she didn't say any good things about this movie that might get fans excited, but she is definitely the catalyst. But Disney has its own reputation to blame for how this movie is going to be turning out. I don't think that you can entirely blame Rachel Zegler for this thing. Disney is a big thing that is doing so many other things, and people's backlash kind of just, you know, people unconsciously like look at other things and they have all of that anger and they are now directing that anger towards this thing, which kind of makes a lot of sense, at least to me, but let me know what you guys think. But I really want to read this thing for a little bit, so bear with me. The studio initially planned a lavish global press tour including major events in Los Angeles and London. However, amid PR struggles, Disney has scaled back to limited number of tightly managed press opportunities. One of the most significant is now set for Segovia, Spain, and let me emphasize, a small city far from the intense media spotlight. So it's hosting one of its most significant sets in Segovia, Spain, which is like a small city. So it's, you know, trying to hide its main actors Gal Gadot and Rachel Zegler as much as possible. You know, it's very sad. You know, like every time when a major company, you know, starts to lose, I have no idea why I feel bad for them. I shouldn't, by all means I shouldn't, but yeah, this movie is going to lose a lot of money, but I do think that from a big picture's point of view this might be a good thing, and maybe Disney will learn something from this experience and maybe it won't make too many shit movies from now on. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about this whole situation, and as always it's time for a goodbye.